In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, save yourselves and your families from the fire. Of course, the fire is fuel. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions rocks, hijara, and then this blazing fire, which is kindled by the fuel sources Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions. So in this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding us to save ourselves, which by default it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us all the tools to do so. Otherwise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not command it. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding it, that means by default that all the tools and the means and every single item that we can use has already been given to us. These tools have been given to us. Now it is up to us if we utilize those means and those tools to reach the objective. Of course, the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we all need it. But besides that, the Quran, the Sunnah of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is there for all of us to benefit from and utilize in achieving this goal. And in doing so, the level of importance, it's universal, it applies to everyone of all times, but it's multiplied that much more for those of us who are living in non-Muslim majority nations. Those of us living here in America, this command takes on the severity, the importance, the critical nature of it, it's multiplied that much more. Versus someone maybe who's growing up in a Muslim majority country. So maybe they have the opportunity to hear the adhan 5 times a day, but they see people in Muslim attire and Muslim garb 5 times a day. Versus ourselves, our children, who maybe very rarely hear the adhan outside of the masjid. Very rarely do they see individuals in Muslim garb outside their own safe zone, maybe their parents, their siblings, aunts and uncles. Besides that, overwhelming time that the children they spend is surrounded, they are literally drowning in non-Islamic environments. So this verse here that we just recited, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا وَقُودُهَا النَّاسُ وَالْحِجَارَةُ. The pressures that our children find on a daily basis that they have to assimilate, we should all recognize that and acknowledge that. Alhamdulillah, there have been efforts throughout the decades that Muslims have been here. We're not going as far back as centuries ago, even though we can find Muslims here in America centuries ago. We're just going back a few decades where this maybe second wave of immigrants started arriving in American shores, and really where we had the opportunity to build our own forms of institutions, whether they're masajids, madrasas, Islamic schools, maktabs, community maktabs. We're talking about this batch who really put an emphasis on creating our own institutions. So the forces that are placed on our children to assimilate, it's overwhelming. So much so that many a times our children are forced to assimilate, and if they are not showing in our homes, if we as parents are not noticing it openly, they have this private fight within them that's kept hidden from the parents. And the innocence of a child is truly something for us to appreciate. Unless they're rebellious, the innocence and the way they keep it a secret from mom and dad, the children assume that they are doing mom and dad a favor by not broadcasting it. They don't want to worry the parents. They don't want to cause drama in the house. And the children, as young as middle school age, we're not even going to go to elementary school. Elementary school, the innocence is at a higher level. Once they reach middle school, high school, and of course college, that fight within, they are definitely facing it. Some of them are able to conquer it. Most will fight it quietly, but the tendencies are always there. Not only from shaitan, but these outside environmental factors. The school, their friends, media, YouTube, you name it. All of these sources are there putting the pressure on them to assimilate, at times maybe encouraging them to even forsake their religion. Maybe the assumption will come that you only live once, enjoy life. Put your religion in the back burner. It shouldn't be at the primary. Don't be such a fanatic. Don't be such a fundamentalist. And in some circles, fundamentalists are defined in the West as someone who follows the fundamentals of the religion. And what else is the fundamentals of our religion besides praying five times a day? Praying 5 times a day, fasting during the entire month of Ramadan. These are the fundamentals. And again, very great efforts have been made to create our own institutions. But I will, and we can all agree to the fact that our own institutions that have been created are for the 1% of the Muslim population in America. If you want to talk about the 1% of the rich people, and we hear it all the time, that the top 1% has 99% of the wealth in America. So let's apply that in the Muslim world. That the top 1% who are able to afford sending their children to Islamic school. Now what about the other 99% of the Muslim kids out there? They are unable to afford the Islamic schools. So they have to now, they're forced to go to public schools. And personally, my opinion is that if there is a strong household where the tarbiyah of a child takes place, and this verse gives us that confirmation that the sole upbringing of a child is solely placed on the parent's shoulder. It's not on the maktab, it's not on the Islamic teacher, it's not on any outside group of people. It is 100% placed on the parent's shoulder of the upbringing, the tarbiyah of this child. Now going back to this division, we can all agree to it. The 1% who are able to have this fortunate opportunity to send their children to these Islamic schools, alhamdulillah. But we are now focused on the 99% of the children, Muslim children, who don't have that opportunity. They're not able to afford $500 a month, $700 a month. And forget about having a single child. If you have multiple children, it just doubles. Maybe they'll give some discount in the monthly tuition, but not all the time. So let's just take a look at, for example, our numbers. And we all can agree that the most number of Muslims that we will ever see in the congregation form in the entire year, it is probably Salatul Eid. It's not Salatul Jum'ah, it's not Salatul Taraweeh, it's not even the Khatam of Salatul Taraweeh. The most number of people that we will see in any given day throughout the year in America, in the masjid or in the congregation form, is on Salatul Eid. And conservative numbers have put it that that's probably 5% of the Muslim population on Salatul Eid. 95% are still at home. Maybe they went to work that day. They're not coming to prayer. We might be amazed at the numbers that we see on Salatul Eid, but that's not even everybody. So fine, let's just give the benefit of the doubt to the Islamic schools that have been established. If the Islamic school doesn't have an Islamic integrated curriculum, is just a copy and paste of the public school, and all they're adding is maybe a half hour to 1 hour of Quran. Maybe they're adding a halal lunch on the menu, and maybe they're adding 1 or 2 subjects of Islamic studies. Besides that, all of the other subjects are the same copy and paste as they find in public schools. So we're just trying to maintain some sort of hope here for the 99% of kids that don't have the opportunity to go to Islamic school. They're going to the public school system. So how do they even have a fighting chance unless they're getting it from home on a daily basis, from mom and dad? And that also depends if mom and dad know what the mission is, what the responsibility is, and how to part that knowledge, that tarbiyah to their kids. Then those 99% of kids, Muslim kids, have a fighting chance at maintaining their iman throughout their lives. And if mom and dad don't realize their responsibility or are lacking the knowledge themselves, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us all. The reason I bring up this separation of Islamic schools versus public schools is because we want to give them this environment, our children, of being surrounded by Islam, being surrounded by Muslims. What happens once they leave the school system? Are they going to a Muslim workforce? No, they're not. They're going into a non-Muslim majority workforce. How are we going to protect them then? Are we going to enroll them into a Muslim workforce too? They are inevitably going to face it. I am a product of the public school system. Growing up in the late 80s, growing up in the early 90s, we had no Islamic. Unless you went to madrasa, which I also did. I went to a full-time madrasa. And since my experience is that of a public school, and that too, Detroit public schools. I didn't have the opportunity to go to Farmington Hills Public School, West Bloomfield Public Schools, Franklin Public School. No, I had the chance to go to Detroit Public Schools. And if any one of us sitting here, I can challenge everyone here. None of you will send your kids to Detroit public schools. La ilaha illallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected. I have siblings. I'm the only son amongst 5 sisters. We all went to Detroit public schools. And whenever I share with the musallis that, I send my own children to the public school system, you know how many raised eyebrows I get and mouths open wide? Really? You send your kids to public school? One of the main reasons I send my kids to the public school system, it's not that I can't afford Islamic school, it's because I want my kids to experience it firsthand. Let them come home with questions. When they do come home with the questions, they're coming home to a safe zone. I can explain it to them. Dad, Mom and Dad, what's this Easter? What's this Valentine? What's this Christmas? What is this Halloween? They're experiencing it daily. Not only are they experiencing it daily, they're seeing it, they're understanding it, they're able to respond to it, and they know that those holidays are not for us. We have our own things. We have our own holidays, we have our Ramadan, we have our Eid. They have theirs, we have ours. And many other things can be mentioned here. One thing we can conclude with, and I know everyone has to get ready to go to work, and that is that the role and responsibility placed on us. My kids, each and every single one of them is different and unique. The way I'm raising them, and the famous saying is that all five fingers, they're different, right? So one size of tarbiyah does not fit all. You have to literally look at each and every single one of your child, and as a parent, you should know the eldest one needs this type of upbringing, the second one, the third one, if Allah blessed you with fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. You should know what the demands and the needs of each and every single one of your children is. It's your responsibility as a father, as a mother, to understand that. Not only understand it, acknowledge it, also tend to it and care towards it. One size of parenting does not fit all for your children at home. And you can all be a witness to that. The eldest one might be needing very little of sternness because they were the first one. The second, the third, the fourth, the difference is created there. And if we have a mixture of daughters and sons at home, the way we deal with them, it's not a unisex. We have to also tend to that as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we recited in Fajr today in Surah Al-Layl, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says it. وَمَا خَلَقَ الذَّكَرَ وَالْأُنثَى إِنَّ سَعْيَكُمْ لَشَتَّى. Regarding this separation of roles and responsibilities, what type of role and what type of responsibility is placed on the male, what type of role and responsibility is placed on the female. We as parents need to realize that, acknowledge it, and give our children that tarbiyah as well. Everyone should know their role and responsibility in society. So again, we wanted to take these opportunities to bring these things to our attention and allow for us to realize what's going on out there. And whatever little we can do from our own side, we try. And when we leave the rest to tawakkul ala Allah and dependence on Allah and our du'as, of course, regarding ourselves, our families, our loved ones, our relatives, our parents, our spouses. And we just take it day by day. Because if we look at it, if we look at the bigger picture, we will simply be overwhelmed and we will give up. But if we take it day by day, morsel sizes, something that we can digest, then definitely it's achievable. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to overcome all of these environmental forces that chase people away from Islam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the iman and the Islam of our youngsters, especially our own children.